All right, welcome everybody. Excited to jump in. Got a fun talk track today. We got Ilya Stovkovsky. He's currently the CRO at a company called Hey Reach, doing some awesome stuff in the prospecting world. Ilya, thanks for joining. How are you?
Thank you, Gabe, for having me. I'm doing super well. Congratulations, guys, for putting this awesome initiative in place. A little bit intro about myself. Well, Ilya Stoikovsky. I mean, don't even try this at home, I guess. Pretty much, I am serving as the CRO of Keyrich. I've been here since day zero. Now we are currently at 13 million ARR. For the ones who don't know, Keyrich is a LinkedIn automation tool. There are a bunch of those, but we've managed to actually pull the stunt and just get there with the big guys. And my unique perspective is that, well, I'm actually running a revenue operations in an outbound tool. So I don't know whether it gets better than that in terms of to share best practices, common mistakes, and use cases of modern day outbound, really.
I love it, man. Yeah, you nailed it. And if you haven't heard of Hey Reach, you're probably sleeping or under the covers or something because, yeah, they've made a lot of noise, I think,
Yeah.
in this kind of go-to-market space. So again, Ilya, appreciate you jumping on, man. Want to dive in and see if I can pick your brain on some of the stuff you were just saying, common mistakes, barriers, the way things are winning. So maybe just start real high level for us. As you think about prospecting at the moment, like what's the state of prospecting? We're hearing AI, we're hearing things are changing. How are you just seeing kind of the world go?
Yeah. Okay. So let's be honest, like it's the good old days are gone. When you can just message someone, never heard of you, and doesn't know your name, doesn't know who you are, and all of a sudden, just because you bring value or you've mentioned something personal about their life, about their work, about whatever, you would get a response.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, how did we ended up being here, right?
Yeah.
So it's really just straightforward answer. Like everyone's doing it. And since everyone is doing it, like obviously, like inboxes are getting saturated. So you're there beating yourself up. Listen, I've followed all of these great guys on LinkedIn or Twitter, and my campaign just sucks at this point. It's not about the approach or the stand that you took. It's basically like you're headed against a saturated inbox to begin with.
Yeah.
So now people are obviously asking, like looking up back for the good old days where email actually worked and now transitioning to LinkedIn and now they're trying different approaches and it's
Sure.
creating this hazy momentum in terms of like, what should I do next? Which is essentially like why I'm jumping on workshops like this one, just to tell you guys like what worked and why
Love
it
it.
worked, obviously. So um, I'm going to tell you obviously about why it worked for us. So we did a common mistake, like I mean, it was not a mistake. It's something that you will see and hear everywhere. Is
Sure.
that like get a list of people, try to make it as personal as possible, and shoot them email and hope for the best.
Yeah.
So even if you spend and all of these new tools coming along nicely, like they're just pretty much giving too much accent to something that it's destined not to succeed to begin with.
Hmm.
Reason being is that the saturation that I've just mentioned. So, long story short, like the first mistake that we did was that, well, just because we have a cool offering in place, like it will make sense. Just because we know something about a specific ICP, yes, then we are solving a specific challenge, then yes, people will opt in. But the problem is that, or it was that people really never actually heard about us. Like,
Yeah.
who are you guys? Who is Heirich? I cannot even pronounce your name. Like, why should I even consider, like, how can I put my trust, money, and effort into you guys? So, I mean, and that's
Which
pretty
is the
much,
common problem of a lot of startups, right? It's like,
uh,
hey, you don't know who
yeah.
if you're not IBM or, Google, yeah, you don't know who they are,
You
right?
don't know who they are. And I mean, every business has that. You have the early adopters, the majority, and the late adopters. And like that's going to happen. And the question is, what can you do? So naturally, you will attract the hot hat enthusiast, like, I'm going to give a try to everything new. So, yes, like you will have those people, but is that the audience that you're going to build a business and a life based on? Probably not, because you
Right.
need the majority to essentially just push for wide adoption and better life for yourself, essentially. So what we did is we flipped the script. So essentially, we understood that we have to build out a brand. So when I say a brand, it doesn't have to always associate with like the next Amazon or the next Google and stuff
Sure.
like that. But you have to be recognized on a sample of an audience, regardless of how big it
Hmm.
is, and then start proactively reaching out to those people. So
Hmm.
now your outbound campaigns essentially changes to I've heard about you guys, but never really done anything with it. Thank you for reaching out. Opposed to who are you, right?
Yeah.
You end up in my inbox.
So
So,
that first step is, yeah, to a successful outbound
yeah.
campaign is actually building some even small brand awareness to a group.
In our case, essentially, that was those were the agencies, right? Because there was no, I mean, we had our motives. It was like there was no other tool actually targeting agencies. They were all targeting like small businesses,
Ah,
solopreneurs, bigger companies, even on enterprise solutions. But nobody was really paying attention to the most creative guys which were out there.
hmm,
So, very beginning, we've flipped the script a little bit before we just pushing
interesting.
for let's close a deal and let's do business together. We started with, hey, you guys are an agency, right? I mean, we have this great tool, friend to a friend to a friend type of recommendation. So listen, I'm going to give you this tool for 3 months, right? And the reason why I'm going to give you that is because you have 5,000 followers on LinkedIn. So
Hmm,
all I want is just you to create a use case of the product itself. Just be successful with the product, right? So if you're successful with the product, then obviously just say a couple of cool things about it over social. That's
yeah.
all we ask, and then we're going to discuss about purchases and stuff like that. So it was hard. Not that it's going to just come off the brand and just get 50 people of those. It takes time. Like you don't have to rush into things. But what that led to is that those people essentially had exposure in front of like a specific market, right?
Yeah.
And when that specific market got exposed to it, to the brand itself, at least to the name itself, you just have a legitimate reason to reach out to, hey, Gabe had that problem. Is this a problem for you right now? This is who we
Yeah.
are. You see my point? So I probably took like not the response that you were looking for.
No, no, that's fascinating. So, yeah, so you guys so you're I mean, and that was the successful recipe for you guys was to obviously don't just follow the old way of, cold emailing random people, but think a little different about how you were gonna build relationships, and agencies were one of them, and brand was kind of the key to do that. So,
Yeah.
so once you started getting that, is that something you recommend for other companies? I mean, you just gotta think different about outbound nowadays?
100%. I mean, what's the point? I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be the case. Some people will prove me wrong and say, well, listen, I've launched 10,000 people campaign, got 5 businesses out of it, and I'm doing just fine. I don't really need that. Of course, right? But the saturation of inboxes in combination with exposure of too many tools, and let's have in mind that like with Claude and Claude agents and stuff like that, tool development will essentially become that every individual will become a tool owner from this
Mm,
point on. Now you're thinking, well, where do I start, right? And everything is inside of the distribution, and obviously the allocation, the how fast can you reach towards an age towards a market sample that has like that resonates with your offering to begin with, like that's business one to one. It's not really
got it.
related to outreach, but my best advice would be to narrow it down, and that's the
Yeah.
best thing that we've did. Like I know that like even for an agency, sorry, for a product or a service at the same time, you've built out that thing to begin with to help people solve problems, right?
Yep.
Some cases it will be one, and most cases it will be multiple problems that they have,
Hmm.
right? So and then you map it out across different personas. That's your ICP, that's your
Sure.
granularity.
Sure.
But if you lay it all out, it pretty much means that you have to reach to the half of the world, right? And it doesn't really make sense.
Right.
So what we've did is essentially we've narrowed it down. We've placed a bet that listen, like this is the audience sample or this is the market that we're going to help the most. And then we're going to expand. So we started
Yeah.
off with agencies, expanded to sales teams,
Yeah.
right? And that
Yep.
natural progression actually made sense. So additional
Interesting. Okay, so then where do you go from there? So as you now start thinking about reaching out to people, I mean, you guys have obviously created a very powerful tool with LinkedIn. You think LinkedIn's the new frontier? And if so, what are people doing to make it win in partnering a little bit with HeyReach?
yes, absolutely. So here is the whole point. Like email started declining, cold calls are declining like who knows since when, but they are.
Yep.
And then the next question is like what's the third best channel or the next best channel, if you will. And naturally everyone turns to LinkedIn. I mean,
Mhm.
it's highly unlikely that someone will actually turn to Meta, Instagram
Yeah.
DMs to
Yep.
build up the business. It's a B2B platform and you already have all the context right there. So it's natural. I mean, people are doing it, whether it's automated or manual, like they're just doing it because, like, if you send an email, you will follow up on LinkedIn. Let's say you are an SDR, you're going to
Sure.
follow up on LinkedIn,
Sure.
right? So, a long story short, like people have started adopting this just because like the other channels are not performing as they should, but they're making a lot of mistakes inside of the process.
Hmm.
The reason why they're making mistakes is because they're treating LinkedIn as an outbound channel just because they need outbound to happen, right? And, and the truth is, like LinkedIn is not an
We
outbound.
just wanna jump on a channel. We
Yeah,
wanna spray on email or we wanna spray on phone, and now we wanna spray on LinkedIn. So
yeah.
you've said that it's not really a channel, it's more of a social platform. I've
Yes.
heard you say that a few times.
Absolutely. I'm going to repeat it unless times of like from this point on. The reason being is like you're messing up like with the basics of the ecosystem that was built over time. And if you do that, like you cannot naturally expect to succeed. So first things first, like lesson number one, keep the thought that this is communication channel. This is social platform. So do you have to have a representable LinkedIn profile there? Yes. Do you have to have a couple of posts here and there? Yes.
Mm.
Will everyone be on LinkedIn? No. So if you are there thinking just because you found a LinkedIn profile, like I should reach them out and it will make sense for me to build out a pipeline, you're wrong. Just because,
Mm.
like, giving in the sense of the ecosystem, not everyone has a valuable reason to be on LinkedIn, right? Would you see plumbers on LinkedIn? No. Would you see chiropractitioners on LinkedIn? No. Like, you see my point, and you have to create a segmentation between who is viable enough to actually be reached out on the platform because
Fair,
that's
fair.
the
I
point.
like that. I like that. So yeah, you got to kind of change the way you think about it. So what are some of the things people are doing on this social platform to actually do it? I mean, so many people just want to get on and spam kind of message people, but how do you do it differently? How do you do it right these days on LinkedIn?
The good thing is that most of the companies and most of the individuals out there actually understood the value that if I have to share something for people to see and understand, it will be LinkedIn. It will not be,
Mm.
and probably X, Twitter, but predominantly LinkedIn. Just because like the acquaintances and the people that I want to work with, like
Sure.
they will be there. So that's number one. So you have in lines with that, like the natural signal-based tracking, where you have a person who posted on LinkedIn or mentioned specific keywords. Those guys will get exposed over there, and now you are in a position to actually build out a nice lead list that makes sense to begin with,
Hmm.
right? So there are a couple of the signal-based is obviously something that is an emerging trend these days for any channel, really, not just LinkedIn. So everyone is actually looking for that specific reason of where have I found you and why am I reaching out right now? Like what's the goal of me reaching out over here?
Hmm.
So there are tools that obviously emerge on the market, such as Clay. I mean, the OG these days on outbound orchestration, if you will.
Yep.
But there are some simpler tools like Trigify, for instance, where you essentially have a nice view of well every influencer and every ICP matching for that influencer that it's having like a decent obviously engagement on the platform. So you have two
Hmm.
things: ICP matching, signal base of why I found you, and a relevant topic that they're engaging with. So that's like the first step that you should take in consideration when you're doing LinkedIn outbound.
So instead of just going cold, you partner with one of these kind of entities and yeah, you bring in the idea of a signal-based outreach and that alone could change the game, it sounds like.
Well, static databases such as Sales Navigator, because Sales Navigator is a database and filtering of database, or Apollo for that matter, or whatever seamless out there, like whoever are they, they're not just doing the job. Just because like you have a CEO in a $10 million startup, like it's not enough. You have to have additional step to basically be ahead of at least 80% of everyone doing outbound these days.
Got it. Okay, that's super interesting. Okay, so yeah, don't go with the static list. So in your what are some of the signals then that are most powerful right now when it
Mm.
comes to LinkedIn that people are taking that signal and then executing on those in a some sort of, LinkedIn kind of reach
Okay.
out?
So when it comes to the signals, it's not just the signals. It's like a separation of signals that are divided between inbound signals, like signals should be used for an inbound campaign or
Mhm.
semi-warm audience, and then you have signals to be used for a cold audience, right?
Got it.
So for the signals, like the most typical ones that you will find, it will be website visitors. That's number one. Company followers, competitor followers, influencers followers, and well, that's just about it.
Hmm,
If you look broader on the signals, like the second layer would be, I don't know, hires, right? Companies hiring for
that's
a
right.
specific job title. It will be company having funding, expansion of teams, overall growth department. So all of
Mm,
those the
mhm.
signals. So then you have the extra like broader ones where you will have reviews or comments or engagement that happen throughout social media. But it's one important thing to understand is that you don't need every signal. You really don't. Like you basically need couple of those which are most relevant that will answer the
Mm,
question why I should hear about your offer. And
yeah,
that's the only thing that you're looking for in a signal. And then do signals exist? Yes. Are there thousands of tools that can provide signals? Yes. Do you need all of them? No. And one thing, an additional thing when it comes to the signals, then you guys, anyone listening really, you can expect different signals to yield different results. So if you are just starting off, your website visitors will probably be hundreds of people, but hires will be millions of people, right? So
yeah.
you have to create segments in terms of like who you want to reach out to first.
Fascinating, fascinating. Okay, so signals is a big component of a modern, I think, LinkedIn program.
Yeah.
What else would you mention? What is there something else that you're like? Because again, the old way of LinkedIn was maybe just spray and pray. The
Yeah.
new way it sounds like it's more ICP identification, more signal based.
Yeah.
Any other tips or best practices in the new way to use LinkedIn?
Uh, so you basically, if you analyze, well, what you need for every outbound, you need relevance and basically like an offer, lead list, and obviously a message that will carry that offer throughout and
Okay.
people to resonate for that,
Okay.
right? So what the outbound has actually shifted for the last 3 years, I guess, or 5 years, is that everyone was pushing on the hyper personalization. You
Yeah.
have to get more personal, you have to get more details, you have to do stuff like that. I mean, with the modern tools, you probably can understand, like, you can get to know, like, what are the names of my daughter's home, stuff like that. But will that generate business or will that generate just a reply rate? And probably it will be just a reply rate, me answering, like, what the actual F, man, like, why? So, uh, so long story short, like people overthought that personalization actually means business. No, personalization only means a reply, and whether that reply can be translated into an actual message,
I
into
love
an
it.
actual business. Hard to doubt that. Just
I
because
love
you
it.
have someone
Love it.
responding on email or on LinkedIn doesn't mean that they're ready to sign the deal, sign the pay, and so on and so forth. But they've overlooked over time that they basically put aside the base of every outbound, which is relevance. Like,
Yeah.
and relevance in a sense, like sometimes companies will be relevant knowingly or unknowingly, right?
Yeah.
Knowingly means that they're proactively looking for a solution, form of a service or a product, and problem to be handled for them, right? So
Yeah.
that's pretty much going to be the smallest sample. And let's be honest, only Google knows who is searching for what, and they're not going to tell like who did that and how to reach them. So, but then again, you will have the ones who are basically just giving out hints that we are in a specific state, right?
Yeah.
Many companies, when it comes to relevance, are you have two types of things really. You have the state of the person who is going to be the recipient and the
Sure.
listener of the offer, and state of the company itself. Now, what that essentially means, I always have this laugh. You have a new CRO being hired. And naturally, everyone will jump in offering product, services, whatever it is, because they need to make an impact. Cool. But they are overlooking the state of the company. What
Yeah.
if we are looking at the third CRO this year? What if we are looking at a company who is actually just cut 50% of their sales department? Whether you see my point? Or whether we are looking at a company who just onboarded 10 new sales reps plus a new CRO.
Mm,
So what people are missing is obviously to understand the state of the company versus the state of the person who is going to be the decision maker, right? If
fascinating.
you
Yeah.
merge those,
Then it kind of adjusts accordingly. Cool. Interesting, man. Well, um, time is always short. I wanted to let you get back to your day job. Appreciate you kind of brainstorming just big picture with me. So, in summary, for people who are trying to utilize LinkedIn, more effectively in this modern outbound world, what would you leave them with? What advice? I know we hit on a couple different topics, but give me kind of your quick summary if that's all right.
okay, if you are starting with LinkedIn outbound today, right? first things first, clean up your profile, please. Just because, like, when you message someone, this is new email, people will click on that and see, like, okay, who is this person actually messaging me? You don't have to be an influencer, just a nice background image, just a nice profile image, and a headline that says who you are and what you do. That's number one. Number two, along with those lines, is like create one article about the challenge that you've reached out to them in the first place. Like if you have a targeting, just create one article, maybe two articles, just put them into the featured section on LinkedIn. Again, when they reach out, you will need that to happen. Number three, don't just get external databases to provide you with leads, for instance, Apollo, then send them a LinkedIn DM. Stay inside of that ecosystem. If you are at least like trying to explore a couple of things, I would gladly mention Trigify, integrational partner, stuff like that. So just try and find like who is the most valid
Mhm.
person that they follow. So it makes sense for you to reach out to them where you find you and stuff like that.
I
If
love
you
it.
are not that savvy, just go to Sales Navigator. There is a very simple filter that says posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. At least you will get the most active leads.
Ah.
Yeah. When you are reaching out to the people inside of your messaging, automated or manual, regardless, stuff like that, be respectful about the ecosystem that you are belonging to. So just go with something like, "Hey, thank you for accepting my connection request, and no, you do not really need. Please add me to your professional network. This is not 2007. Like nobody does that really. So just go with something like, "Thank you for accepting my connection request." To introduce myself, my name is Ilya. I'm the CRO of HeyRich, and I help agencies solve LinkedIn scalability while keeping the account safe. What is it that you do? And is this a challenge for you guys right now? That's all you
Hmm.
need.
I love it. Leah, it's awesome to talk to you. You guys are doing a lot of cool things, making a lot of noise. So appreciate you and the company. For the audience, we'll let you go and have a fantastic day.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.